And the world would be better for this. That one soul, squadrons covered with scars, would stroll with the last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star. And the world will be better for this. That one soul, scarlet covered in scars, still stroll with her last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star.
Debbie Scott, y'all. Good
Has left the theater.
Debbie has been singing at the Friendship Coffee House on White Marsh Island. Is that the Whitmarsh? Wilmington Island. Some of y'all might know where the Crowbar is. It's right next to that. And she's going to do another show in March and let us know this week. And then we were thinking maybe we get a group together and go hear Debbie sing.
Put your dancing shoes on and you sing.
Yeah, always a good time. So thank you. Yeah. And Debbie is a good example of being of service because I know that you go to a lot of senior care centers and give of your time there. And I know they really appreciate that. A joy. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for being here this morning, and hope to see you back more often.
Oh, I know. I'll lay on my clothes the day before,
So that was the Elvis version.
That was Elvis.
So just for me. And y'all know that I love Rumi too, right?
Right.
So this is from The Essential Rumi, translated by Coleman Barks. And Coleman Barks is from Chattanooga, Tennessee. First time I heard him reading his Rumi translations, I was like, he sounds just like me. This is awesome. So this is his translation of one called The Guest House.
Oh, I love that one.
This being human, you love that one? Oh, our bingo in the third row. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. And so this week, I've been asking myself the question, what would my life be like if I welcomed every situation, every person as an honored guest and welcomed them in? You know, we have the creative power to name and claim our good. So every situation, every person, every relationship, every activity that we're part of, we get to choose whether we're going to bless it or curse it. Because that's what we can do. What is the idea of the highest good that we're holding for every situation? Can I be really clear on that? Can I know? This is what we're learning in our Emma Curtis Hopkins class. we're learning to name our good, to really sit with these divine ideas and get clear. You know, I can tell you what I don't want or don't like real easy. Anybody? But to get really clear on what I want is learning to use my creative power to bring forth the experience that I desire to know in my life. Can I name and claim my good? Well, then I have to welcome everything as an honored guest. So I was standing at the counter at Smoothie King this week. Anybody go to Smoothie King? If you go on Friday, they have $5 mediums all day long. Because they're a little pricey, aren't they? If you get a medium, usually it's almost $10 for a smoothie. What? So I go on Fridays, you get one a medium for $5. And I'm waiting, and Eckhart Tolle, anybody know Eckhart Tolle, tells me that waiting is an opportunity for me to practice presence. He says a good question we can ask ourselves is, can I be the space for this? Or can we affirm, I am the space for this? Let's say that. I am the space for this. Whatever pops up, you know, without even naming it, right or wrong, just naming it, this is my good, it's coming to me, and I'm the space for this. So I'm sitting there tapping my foot while somebody is telling the person very passionately about how they got this wrong and got this wrong. And I'm waiting, smiling. Because that's, you know, Tony, y'all know Tony P. He came in this morning, he said, he had a t-shirt on that says, "This trying to be normal is exhausting." Yeah. So I was really working it there, and then, you know, waiting. My sister does that too. When she can tell when she's upset, she does this, right? So I saw a sign on the back of the wall, and it said "guest" in big letters. And I thought, wow, if I wasn't being present, I wouldn't have just seen this sign from God on the wall. There's my talk for Sunday. And they had a different idea for every letter of the word guest. And I started thinking about that Rumi poem and relating what they were teaching their employees to do to just everyday walks of life, every situation. And so I wanted to share that with you this morning. I know Kevin likes acronyms. He does that a lot. So this morning, this one's for you. Guest. Guest. The G is greet. Greet. So what if I greeted every person in my life? Well, hello, welcome, good to see you. Because sometimes, I don't know, have you ever had this experience of here comes somebody and you go, oh, here they come again. I used to be that person. Sometimes I still am. Like, oh God, here he comes. What is it this time, right? So here he comes. So do you ever do that? You see somebody coming? That's not very welcoming, is it? We want to welcome our guests in. Well, hello. Hi. How are you? Let me greet you. What is the blessing that you brought me today? Like, what gift are you bringing me? And what gift am I sharing with you? Anybody ever read Celestine Prophecy? Yeah. James Redfield from Birmingham, Alabama. Let me just throw in all these southern plugs this morning. This is from the Celestine Prophecy. He has one of his characters say this, and this is the first insight. If y'all read this book, you know there's 10 insights, 10 spiritual principles, and the first one is synchronicity. And the character says, no one is here by accident. Everyone who crosses our path has a message for us. Otherwise, they would have taken another path, or they would have left earlier or later. The fact that these people are here means that they are in our lives for a reason. Tell your neighbor, you are in my life for a reason today. So doesn't that change things a little bit? It's like, what is the gift you're bringing? Let me greet you. You're bringing me a present. Hello, welcome. Come on in. Now the second letter and guest is U for understand. Understand. St. Francis prayer. I know y'all know this prayer. Everybody has heard this prayer. It is better to understand than to be understood. Yes? You know what happens for me? I don't know if this happens for you, but when I am doing this, and I'm like, if you could just see it my way, if you could just understand where I'm coming from, I usually get a lot of conflict when I take that attitude. Well, if they would only listen to me. Like my dad used to say, I've only ever been wrong once in my whole life, and I thought I was wrong, but I was right. That attitude gets me in trouble every time. But how good does it feel? Think about this. When you know that somebody is listening to you. You know, it's one thing we practice in our prayer chaplain meetings is heart-centered listening. That when a person is sharing their heart, we do this in our classes too. When a person is sharing their heart, we give them our attention and our focus. Because there's no better gift that you could give somebody than your attention. Yes, I'm listening. I hear you. I'm trying to understand. Sometimes I have to try to understand. Did anybody see the program recently where Oprah took a group of Republicans and Democrats and sat them down at a table together? And it seemed to me, what I got from that was that everybody in the room really all wanted the same thing. They were just seeing things differently. But everybody basically just wants the same thing. Don't you want to be safe in your home? Don't you want to have enough money to be able to do the things that you want to do? Don't you want to have, you know, a safe, comfortable neighborhood to live in? Yeah, well, everybody wants that. Like all over the world. It doesn't matter. And so when we try to understand, to listen to somebody else, then we realize, you know, we're not that different after all, as I thought that we were. My problem comes in is when I put people in a category or a group, and I say everybody that's in this subset of humanity is this certain way, and they think this way, and they talk this way. But when I get to know somebody one-on-one, personally, then that sort of prejudice goes away. Because I'm relating to them not from a label, oh, you're one of those, right? Ever used the term those people before? Hello, come on now, preach. So, right? So, when I'm willing to listen, to try to understand somebody, then I'm doing the next letter, E. I'm engaging them. I'm engaging. See, our natural tendency in life is when something is uncomfortable, ooh, wait a minute, I don't like that. Let me step back, right? Like, who wants to feel anxious or angry or frustrated or, you know, it might feel good for a minute to get mad, but then afterwards I'm like, verily, I say unto you, I shouldn't have said that, right? But if anybody follows Pema Chodron, the Buddhist monk, she tells us that, this is the Buddhist idea, that the world is full of suffering, that you can't get away from it. See, this is part of being on this planet. We have challenges. If we didn't have challenges, we would not grow. If everything is okay, I ain't going to do anything. Right, Freddie? I'm just going to, okay, everything's good. I'm just going to keep going along like I am. Like, hello? Why do I want to work hard at changing and transformation if everything's okay? I think I'll just coast like I am. But it's when life comes and gives me that little nudge, oh, wait, that's uncomfortable. Let me get up. Let me think about this. Let me do some. So our practice is when the uncomfortable comes, the guest comes bringing the gift, we engage it, we lean into it. Ooh, isn't that a different way of approaching challenge? Because let me tell you, sometimes I have to go in my backyard and hide. Sometimes life can overwhelm us sometimes. Just turn on the news for 30 minutes. Whoa, what's going on? Okay, so I have to go away from it. But the practice is to lean into it, to engage. What's here for me? What's the blessing? What's the gift? Anybody know the story of Jacob wrestling the angel in the New Testament? Old Testament. It's an Old Testament story about Jacob. He gets in a fight with an angel because he wants his blessing. And he says, I ain't turning you loose until you bless me. I don't care if we have to stay here and fight all night long. I'm not turning loose until you bless me. And pretty soon the angel gave up the blessing. And that's a metaphor. That's a metaphysical way of saying let's lean into this uncomfortable situation. Let's embrace it. Let's welcome it in. What is there for me? Because whenever there is something there for me to give, there's something there for me to get too. There's always an equal exchange. Which kind of leads us to our next letter, S, is serve. Serve.
Ready to go home.
Serve. I'm ready to go home too. I need something to eat. Serve. Another Eckhart Tolle-ism is that there comes a day where we say, what am I here to give to the universe? Instead of what am I here to try to get? Is that getting energy? That's grasping. That's like, and when I get something, sometimes I get afraid that I'm going to lose it. So like, I'm always, if I come from this getting place, I'm always kind of upset all the time. Either I'm afraid I'm not going to get something, or once I get it, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to keep it somehow. But when I come from a place of giving, well, there's this freedom in that. It's like I'm not attached. Like if I can give without being attached, without expecting anything back. But see, the paradox is whenever you give, you get something back. Because it's the same energy. It's an exchange. That's the thing. Deepak Chopra, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. One of his laws is Dharma. We have a new website. One of the cool things about the website is that when I post for the Sunday talk, I'm also including my notes that you can download, quotes. So if you want to go back later on in the week, because I'm throwing a lot of information at you this morning, you can download the quotes that I'm using this morning. But from his book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, Deepak Chopra says this about Dharma. Everyone has a purpose in life, a unique gift or special talent to give to others. And when we blend this unique talent with service to others, we experience the ecstasy and exaltation of our own spirit, which is the ultimate goal. So Deepak tells us, if you don't know what your purpose is, this is it, to experience ecstasy and exaltation. That's what, I'm here to feel good. But the way I do that is to lean into uncomfortable situations and try to give when I want to get. Oh, that doesn't make any sense. Well, try it for a week and see how your life will change. He has 3 parts in this service part. One, he says that we are all unique individual expressions of God. We say we're the Christ of God in expression. And number 2, we all have something to give in a certain way that nobody else can give it. And number 3, when we combined the talent with service to others, then we experience that ecstasy. Because here's the thing. Whatever thing that you can do in a certain way that nobody else can do it, and everybody has at least one of these things. And you know you're doing it because you lose track of time when you're doing it. You're like, oh, wait, what happened? I just spent the whole afternoon rehearsing my song. And I was having a great time all by myself doing this, right? Yeah. So you know that's your thing when you're doing it. You can do that in a certain way. Debbie sings in a certain way. I sing in a certain way. There's somebody that needs it the way you can do it. And when you're willing to give that thing that only you can do in your certain way, then the person who needs that is going to show up in your life. But it ain't a one-way street. Because by the law of attraction, the law of vibration, whatever you put out, you get back. That person that you draw to you has something that you need as well. So there's an equal exchange. And then you're both in this place of bliss. And it wouldn't happen if you weren't willing to invite the guest in, to lean into it, to engage, to try to understand. Yes? Because some of my most difficult situations have been what I've learned the most from. Anybody else with me there? Like, how many times have I looked back at my life, and at the time I thought, oh, I just got fired from my dream job. Oh, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. But then I went back, and it's like, well, no, I was stuck. I was getting a little thing. You know, that relationship that I thought was never going to end. And then they left. Oh, ow. No, this is terrible. How did this happen? And now I'm like, oh, that was like years later. You go, oh, that was so good. Thank you, God. God is good all the time. Oh, Lord. If we were still together. Yes? Anybody? Anybody with me? Do you see it? So God is good if we're willing to name it and claim it, if we're willing to invite the guest in, if we're willing to welcome every situation, every circumstance, every person. What's my blessing? Where's my blessing? I'm going to name it. I'm going to see it. I'm going to call it forth. I don't care how I have to struggle. I don't care how many times I have to do it. I don't have to. If I have to get up every morning and start praying for somebody or something, the minute I get out of bed, I'm not going to quit until I get my blessing. Because I know it's there. I know it. Because why? God is good all the time. There's no place where God is not. So how could there not be a blessing in every situation? It's just simple, deductive reasoning. If God is good, everywhere present all the time, how can there be anything bad? It's only bad if I name it. It's only bad if I turn it away. It's only bad if I don't try to understand it, if I don't engage it, if I don't try to serve. And the last one, if I don't give thanks. Give thanks. Not because God needs flattery. Right? God don't give a rip one way or another, whether I'm saying thank you or not. It's for me. It's to get me in that high vibration where I want to be. Remember, we talked about this a bunch, that one of the highest vibrations we can be in is the vibration of appreciation. Wake up in the morning and go outside and look at the blue sky and take a big breath of that wonderful pollen that's in the air. Thank you, God, for life. Thank you, God, that I have a good life. If you keep saying it long enough, you'll get there. If you think your life isn't very good right now, start looking for the good. Start making gratitude lists. Find little things to be grateful for. Find ways that you can invite the guest in, that you can welcome every situation. This is hard work. This is tough. New thought ain't for sissies. Come on. Brady's with me on this one. Like, sometimes, man, I'm going to go back down the street because I can blame it on the devil down there. When I come here, it's my choice on how I'm going to see it, how I'm going to receive it. So, anybody ever see the story, the movie Labyrinth?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a great movie? It's like an 80s movie, but it's a classic. David Bowie. Awesome, right? So if you don't know it, there's a young girl. She's about 13 or 14, and she's the only child until the parents have a baby brother. Now she has a baby brother. And she is so jealous. She hates that baby. It cries all the time. It gets all of her parents' attention. She used to be the only one. And she goes around saying all the time, this just is not fair. It's not fair. That stupid baby. I want to get rid of that baby. So she finds this book. And she reads a passage out of the book. And sure enough, the Goblin King sends his little goblins to go kidnap the baby. And run off of it. And so now she has to go and rescue the baby from David Bowie, the Goblin King. And the whole time she's going, this isn't right. It's not fair. I shouldn't have to do this. And there's one point of the movie towards the end where you can see it click. And she goes, life isn't fair. Life isn't fair. You know, it's just, and that's okay. Like you could see her kind of grow up in that moment and go, well, you know, it's not what I'm trying to, you know, it's what I'm putting on it that's important. Like, yeah, it's not fair sometimes. Yes, it's challenging. That's life. And so we can even move beyond fair and unfair to it just is. It just is, right? Like when we are in the realm of the absolute, there isn't an opposite. How can there be an opposite if God is everywhere present all the time? God is all there is. How can there be anything outside of God that is opposite from it? There can't be in that reasoning. So what that means is there's only one of everything. And so when I'm labeling something, it's because I'm choosing to do it. Jesus said to judge with righteous judgment, to look past appearances. And so that's our practice. That's what we're called to do as metaphysicians. It's to look for the good. It's to call it forth. It's to name it and claim it. To name our good, to claim our good. Life has challenges. Maybe it doesn't seem fair, but that's the way it is. And so what am I going to do? Am I going to welcome it and bless it, or am I going to turn away? And I know what that gets me. Just more of the same. Whatever you focus on, you get more of, right? So whatever you're fighting against, you're just going to get more of it. You might as well give up right now. So the last thing I want to share with you today is a Polish fable. Like I say, I'm going to have these on the internet for you to download. It's like, he has went from Rooney to Polish fables about kings. Like, what's going on down there? I just want to preface this by saying I don't want this story to reinforce the idea that God is sitting on a throne, on a cloud out there somewhere, which at first glance you might think that if it triggers your embedded theology. But if you're willing to sit with this story, and I'm not going to interpret it for you, I'm going to ask you to contemplate this story yourself and see what it says to you. Because there is a nugget of truth in here, I believe, if we're willing to mine it. An old Polish fable tells about a king who went into his garden one day to discover that all the plants and all the trees were dying. The king asked the oak tree what was wrong, and the once majestic oak said it was withering away in frustration because it was not as tall and straight as the pine tree was. Then the king asked the pine tree, "Why are you drooping so sadly? All your needles are turning brown and your branches are breaking." And the pine tree replied, "I'm sad because I cannot bear grapes like that vine over there can." So the king went to the grapevine, and it was withered up, and the grapes were shriveled, and they looked sour and brown. And he said to the grapevine, "Why are you withering and dying like this?" And the grapevine said, "Well, it's because I can't bear pretty flowers like all those tulips can." over there. So everywhere the king went in the garden, it was the same thing. Everything was withering and dying because it was looking over there at what another tree or plant had. And finally, he came upon a little daisy, a small little daisy by itself in the meadow on top of a little rise. And he went to it because its colors were bright and the stem was strong and the leaves were green and it was vibrant and alive. And he said to the little daisy, he says, "Why are you so healthy when all of my majestic oaks and my strong pines are all withering and dying?" And the little daisy says, "I just took it for granted, sir, that when you planted me here, you wanted a daisy right in this place. And so I made up my mind to be the very best one I could right where I was."
I just love that. Look into a child's eyes and tell me what you see. Reflections of the hopes and dreams, what they're here to bring. We are born for greatness, born for greatness, everyday greatness, everyday greatness, born for greatness, born for greatness, every day, yes we are, born for greatness, sing it. Born for greatness, everyday greatness, everyday greatness. Born for greatness, born for greatness, every day, every day. Oh, come on, come here. There's a soul in every one of us, in every neighborhood, and I believe with all my heart, each soul is good, and we are born for greatness, born for greatness, everyday greatness, everyday greatness, born for greatness, born for greatness, every day, every day. Oh, come on, you can use me now. Everyday greatness, everyday greatness, born for greatness, born for greatness, every day, every day. Here's the part I like the best. It isn't just the righteous stuff, for all the